When playing this year's multiplayer, I feel different than I have in past CODs. I'm having a hard time wanting to continue playing 6v6. I was thinking about all the reasons why, and it's not what you may be thinking. It's not the bugs or the crashing, because fortunately, besides the restart bug at startup, I haven't really experienced any. It's not the jumping sweats, because I have transformed myself into just that.
We are looking at how to pronounce this word.
And it's not the riot shields, because there's plenty of ways to deal with them. Then after playing way too much shipment and going back to normal quick play, I realized it's not me. It's a map problem. Now, this has been a reoccurring theme in Call of Duty for the better part of a decade. The maps have been becoming overall larger, with more levels and less lanes. Now, this problem isn't some groundbreaking Edward Snowden type of news, and the community hasn't shied away from stating their discontent. But honestly, and this may be a controversial take, but I think this Call of Duty is the worst multiplayer in terms of maps in years. So first, when you look at how many maps were released, at 10, that isn't the least we've seen, as Cold War only launched with 8. But that's still not a desirable amount. Now, the lack of maps wouldn't be such a cause for concern if they were at least good maps. But it's clear that the quality of these maps, at least for 6v6, is subpar. The design of the maps look great. I don't think that's really even up for discussion. They're for the most part really unique maps that visually are appealing. But the problem isn't with how they look, it's how they play. Now, I play mostly objective-based game modes, specifically Domination, Headquarters, or Hardpoint, and they just don't flow. The spawns are always janky, which many think is an intentional reason. And it just feels like the gunfights are just spread throughout the map instead of near or around the objective. When we take a real quick look at the lineup, Tarak is just so trash for 6v6, and probably just in general, if we're being honest. The border crossing isn't as bad as people think, but I feel like I get it all the time, and it can quickly turn into a snipe fest. Farm 18 is one of the better maps, and even on this one I find I either have a lot of fun or no fun at all. The Crown Raceway was a map everyone was raving about when the game first released, and while it is a cool map and looks great, it's huge. Way too big. So maybe size does matter. Now, in their shortcomings, Activision tried to soften us up a little and give us 2 maps for Season 1. That's awesome. Much appreciated. But instead of giving us a remastered map from the original Modern Warfare 2, they gave us a map that we've had for years, and then another map that we've had for years that just promotes camo grinding and mindless shooting and dying, shooting and dying. These new maps are just inconsistent, and it makes 6v6 such a grueling game experience. If they introduce a smaller ground war playlist with only 8v8, I think that would solve a lot of those problems I mentioned earlier. Now, one map I think that aged really well for me in terms of playability is Hydroelectric. Initially, I thought the water was a bit annoying, but now I really do enjoy that extra element of play. I think the maps just overall are killing 6v6 in multiplayer, and it shows with how many lobbies I get into where it's not completely full or I'm joining a match in session. The guns are great, I like the gameplay mechanics, and Warzone 2 is enjoyable, but these maps are atrocious. Those are my thoughts. Let me hear yours. What do you guys think about the maps? Do you feel gypped? And what map do you want to see in the upcoming Season 2? Because they gotta give us a remastered one. If you made it this far, we're creeping towards 200 subs, so please drop a like to support the channel and consider subscribing for more regularly posted content. I'm Scotty for Prez, and I'm gonna see you guys next time. Deuces.